Hey guys, welcome back to Tell Your Story. Tonight we've got a really cool rendition of a video based on an email we got from a gal out there who asked some questions about addiction and love. So let's go ahead and get into it. Renee, if you're watching, thanks for sending in the email. I know that you've been really patient waiting on us to do a video about addiction and love, and I think that tonight we've got some really great answers for you, and I want to go into some detail about I guess my relationship with Corey and where we come from as far as being addicts and loving another person. So that's definitely tonight's topic. We're talking about how to love an addict or how you can go into love while in addiction. And I'm no stranger to that. Corey and I met each other pretty soon after we got out of our own rehab centers. I had just gotten out of a 90-day rehab, and had spent 5 months in a live-in sober house, and Corey had just gotten out of a sober living house I think she'd been out for 6 months, and we sort of met in the way that we do, that a lot of addicts do, and I was still being in a sober living house. Ended up having to leave because that's not something they permit, is seeing a woman at the time, that you're in a place where you're supposed to be following the rules and things like that. So we may have gone against the grain a little bit there. Whoopsie. Loving an addict can be fairly tough. It can also be really dangerous, especially when you're in the first stages of trying to find sobriety. Now, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but to be honest, the statistics don't say good things about addicts when they get into relationships. I mean, the idea of me trying to love someone else unconditionally, barely even out of my worst vices, trying to get away from alcohol and trying to stay sober seems like a lot on the mind before, trying to build a relationship with someone else. The truth is that statistically, most addicts move back towards their worst vices when trying to get into a relationship early in sobriety. The numbers are just against us, and these folks have not yet learned how to, go day to day without self-medicating themselves with a mind-altering drug. Don't take me the wrong way. I would never tell someone that they cannot love someone else. Love is unconditional, and it doesn't come with monthly payments on a bill. What I'm asking you to do is be open to conversations, being open to asking the hard questions before you decide to take someone else's time away from them. Let's start getting prepared for this by asking ourselves some personal questions. Before we just dive into a relationship with someone, with building a connection with someone else, we want to ask some hard questions, and I'm going to give you a couple right now. Question number one being, can you love someone without being an enabler? Are you going to build a connection with someone and, say I'm an alcoholic? Are you going to drink in front of that person all the time? Some folks don't believe that smoking weed is a problem. They don't believe that there's a correlation between a drug addiction and smoking marijuana. Well, if that was part of someone's drug addiction, I'm not sure that it's a good idea to throw them back into the mix with that kind of drug sitting in front of them. It's not just dangerous, it's selfish. At this point, you are living your life and you're introducing some things to another person that you're trying to build a relationship with that are negative effects that bring them backwards. We're trying to build relationships that move us forward. We're trying to build off of other people that are winners, that create success in our lives and theirs. The second question I want you to ask yourself is, can you handle emotional attachment without self-medication? Are you early in sobriety? Are you long-term into your sobriety already? If you can handle hard emotions, you should be able to do that without any mind-altering substances. In my relationship, Corey and I don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do anything that would change the emotional garbage that's going on up here. She and I are trying to stay as focused and as level-minded as we can be in every aspect of our lives, including our relationship. If you don't think you can handle hard times in life or the day-to-day without going backwards, you really need to think about, before you jump into a relationship, you need to think if this is right, not just for that other person, but really for you. The third question I'd have you ask is, can you set healthy boundaries? And what I'm trying to say here is that maybe you are super heavy into sobriety and you're excited about who you're becoming. If you love somebody, you've got to set some standards and boundaries for that other person. This isn't a game of baseball. We're not going in with 3 strikes, you're out. If someone means to do you harm, or if they mean to go backwards, they don't need to be a part of your life. Your sobriety comes first, sometimes even before love. Let's flip the script a little bit. All of those were questions that you asked yourself, but what are some questions that you can ask your partner? I think we're going to start off with a simple one, and it's that, is this relationship a transaction or an investment? What I mean by that is, are we forming a connection that just provides a means to an end? By the time you have gotten out of your sober living house, are we gonna get together and then I've given you a reason to be away from all those people trying to make you sober, so now you're gonna go buy drugs? I don't want a transaction. I want an investment. If I've found somebody that I am into, that we have a lot in common, a lot of awesome things going on, we mesh well together as best friends. Corey and I did a lot of meshing together, but these open conversations led us to believe that this was an investment, not a transaction. We brought the best out of each other, and we knew that if we progressed, if we learned and we built our relationship on trust and communication, we had something much more than just a transaction. It was an investment. The second question I would ask your partner is, are you serious about sobriety? The whole point of us becoming sober is to be a better human being. I have empathy for other people and what they're going through because I've been through that pain. I am an addict. I know what it feels like to be stuck somewhere in here in your heart and you don't know where you're going. But if I'm super excited about being sober and being a better person, if you're not, you don't have any place in my world, It's not that I'm throwing you away. I will always love you, but I'm going to set you aside to make sure that I'm not hurting you by moving forward myself. And I'm not hurting myself by just going backwards in this relationship. The third and easiest question is, can you stay sober? That's a tough thing because a lot of times we enter relationships where people are serious about sobriety, but, to some people, relapse is a part of their sobriety. And I don't believe that at all. That is a lie. Relapse doesn't have to be a part of your sobriety, but it does tend to happen. I don't tend to forgive and forget, but I love the serious question, can you stay sober? Because if you really want something, you'll go out and get it. Relationships are a big deal, and if we don't back up and take a look at the bigger picture, we'll often miss some of the small details that can tell us whether or not we're ready to get into a relationship. If you don't step back to take a look at that bigger picture, you might inadvertently drive somewhere into a darker path of just anger and obsession that will ultimately lead you to your worst vices that you started to get away from in the first place. So the best advice I can ever give is just stay vigilant, stay genuine, and most of all, communicate. Communication is the key to a productive and wonderful relationship. You've probably heard that somewhere before, but coming from me, I can guarantee you that is a winner when it comes to building a love life with someone that's true to you and some person that you want to become, make a bright and wonderful future with. Anyway, thanks for watching. We put our email down below if you'd like to get in touch with us personally and you want to be featured here on the channel. We enjoy talking about deep relationship questions and sobriety and addiction. It's just who we are and what we've come to be passionate about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.